Hey there, you wonderful listeners. I have a question for you. Do you want to make a podcast? Well, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money all in one place and for free. How can you beat that? It's called Spotify for Podcasters. And here is how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, there are Q&A and poll options available, and those are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I've discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it has made doing my shows like the Steam Machine Podcast, Yabs Pod, and the JRPG Report much, much easier to do. Like being able to just go on there, record them, upload it, boom, it's done. I don't have to pay for a site service to host or anything like that. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always is my good buddy.
This is Ryan.
And this week we are here to finish off talking about the Talos principle, because last week we had to cut it a little short, but what can you do? Sometimes life gets in the way. I was extremely tired.
Yeah, sometimes the game gets a little more complicated than what we originally planned, and
a
lot deeper storyline-wise than what we originally planned. But
absolutely, and I took some pictures of some terminals to read out to just prove what we were talking about, kind of touching on in the last episode. But I would like to first point out for the video listeners, and well, I guess I'll say it for the audio listeners, right above Ryan's shoulder is a sweet picture of a Skeletor. And I need the story behind that, sir.
Oh, yeah. I found some auction site that does some Hollywood and celebrity memorabilia that nobody ever really touches as far as bids go because they predominantly focus on sports memorabilia. And I snagged that guy for like super cheap. Not bad.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
But it's actually signed by the voice of Skeletor, Alan Oppenheimer.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh, that's cool. Every time I see Skeletor, I think of Skeletor versus Beastman. Did you ever see that back in the day? I think it was like CKY that did it. Yeah. Jesus Christ, what ridiculousness. And then, of course, you know, anybody who knows you love Jurassic Park, so I'm also looking at the signed Jurassic Park picture, and that is just rad. It goes very well with your Jeff Goldblum action figure, sir.
Oh, yeah, for sure. My Goldblum action figure, my Goldblum pop, and the rest of the Jurassic Park pops. I think I'm only missing a couple from that collection. I think I just need the T-Rex and Dr. Sattler with the Jeep. I think I have the whole set. That's it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I mean, I would say, I obviously leave them all in boxes, but it would be cool to have like two of each so you could just set up like a little nativity scene of Jurassic Park. And it's just like the scene where like Malcolm's in the Jeep and everyone's gathered around him and then the big dress.
I want to do that with all the different Goldblum characters. This is Dr. Ian Malcolm and from Independence Day and The Fly and Bonsai Buckaroo. Just get them all. Get all of them there.
I saw a picture. It was just a picture of Jeff Goldblum the other day. It just said "pretty fly for a white guy," and that made me really laugh pretty hard. So, as far as news this week, kind of light. Other than saw that Epic Games is suing Apple, which is always interesting. Apparently, the mobile version of Fortnite, they tried to circumvent Apple's 30% revenue share, whatever the fuck it is. And Apple shut that shit down. They were like, nah, get the fuck out of here. And Epic said, well, you kind of can't do that, so fuck you. We're going to court. And that's pretty much all that's come out. There's nothing much else about it. If I hear more, because I'm sure it's going to get pretty interesting.
It probably will. Fortnite's like, we want to take all the money from all the little kids. You don't get that portion of it.
Goddamn right. We want that fucking lunch money that they haven't been spending at school.
We want them to continue to steal their parents' credit cards and charge thousands of dollars on skins. Like,
yeah, I mean, dude, they have to fucking look like a hot dog. Like, who can play Fortnite and not look like a fucking hot dog?
I have never once even touched Fortnite, so I don't even know what the hell it is.
I have watched my friend's 6-year-old son play it, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
It looks like Minecraft meets PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, which is basically what it is. And it's like, I don't want to play any game that I can just be running after somebody and shoot at them, and then all of a sudden they're 20 feet in the air because they just started building shit. And just right the fuck up. It's like, nah, dog, you were in my line of sight. I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
This is Arma up in this motherfucker.
It sounds like two games that I don't really enjoy. I'll jump on Minecraft, but I only play on creative mode, so I can just build shit. I don't want an actual gameplay on that. I just want a building simulator.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of Arma, we now have all of those in the library, and I can't wait till we get to some of those just to see how intense they really are, man, because I've always heard that they're super realistic military simulators.
Yeah.
Like buttons for leaning around corners, buttons for knocking your gun, buttons for adjusting your scope. I know that you can do, on my computer at least, I can set the field of vision to a couple miles.
Wow.
And it'll load that much at a time. That way, if you're sniping, you can see that. It's crazy.
Jeez.
It's crazy. It'll be cool when we get to that. I've been playing a lot of Phantasy Star Online too. And I'm not going to lie to you, as if I did not already love this game enough, 2 days ago or maybe yesterday, a Persona crossover event started. And I was all about it. So I was running around seeing what all I could do for the event, and they're rolling in things slowly. I caught the tail end of a Persona 3 concert that was going on in the little shopping area. I'll go to the shopping area, and it's darker than normal, and I'm like, well, that's odd. Normally it's nice and bright and sunny here. And then I look down, and there's by the stage, there's all these pulsing lights and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? And I walk down there, and there's literally a sea of characters, an actual concert.
Wow.
Of these characters, and all of them are emote dancing and stuff. And up on stage is the main characters from Persona 3 doing their dance routine thing from one of the Persona dancing games. And I'm like, no shit. So they've been doing those for Persona 3, 4, and 5.
That's cool.
I guess routinely, and I haven't caught any more. Maybe later tonight or tomorrow I'll hop on and see if I can catch some. But I did spend $10. I'm not gonna lie. I spent $10 so I could get some of the Persona loot, because this game's free to play. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll chip in $10 for the month, and that'll be what money they make off of me, and I'll feel like that's going towards my quote unquote subscription type thing. And I got some cool stuff. My second character is a female, and I got an outfit from Futaba from Persona 5. So that's pretty rad.
That's cool.
And then I got a bunch of hairstyles and a cool chest piece for my dude. So all in all, I'm having a lot of fun with that game, man. I think once it comes up on the list, or once you decide to try to maybe dive into it one day, it is really cool. It's like I told you, it reminded me a lot of Hyperdimension Neptunia Action Unleashed, but just better.
Yeah, I as much as I loved the Hyper Neptunia, it was just a good action game. That storyline was awful. So if this game has even somewhat any part of a storyline, it's already better.
Oh yeah, I actually just started doing the storyline. That's one thing I was going to bring up to you, is that I'm level 56 and just started doing the story, because it's completely separate. So you could hop in. I know you, and I know you skip story. You could hop in and never fucking play the story if you don't want to.
No, fine.
Just go in there and kick ass, chew bubblegum. I'm saying.
I'll just want to sit there and chew bubblegum. How many levels can I get for her chewing gum at this corner?
Dude, it wouldn't surprise me if there was an emote for that, man. There's emotes for all kinds of stuff that I've seen that you can earn currency in the game and get. What I really wanted from the Persona scratch-off thing I got was the Persona 3 emote, which I don't know if I've ever told you. So in Persona 3, in order to summon your persona, you have to basically scare yourself into doing it. Or I don't remember exactly what it is, but your main character spins a gun, points a pistol to his head, and pulls the trigger. Boom! And broken glass shoots out of the other side of his head, and then his persona summons. And that's how all the characters summon. They have to shoot themselves in the head, which I'm surprised passed even back then and didn't get censored in America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's an emote in the game, so you can like whoosh, and I thought that would be sweet. But, okay, so enough about PSO2. That'll probably be a reoccurring thing now, is me just bringing up shit on that.
Probably.
So the Talos principle. I believe we left off.
We didn't really talk much about the game because the game itself is just it's puzzles. Like
Yeah. I was trying to piece together where at in the story we were at. Like I know we didn't really get into it, but there's like I think we were by the platforms, right? It was between where you get the platform where you can carry stuff.
I think so.
Basically, like we said, Elohim in the sky, guiding you through this journey, we'll call it. And the whole time there's this AI in the computer who's like, why are you listening to that fucker? It almost seems like I got an achievement at one point for tempting the serpent, I think, or something like that. So I was like, I knew this was like a god and fucking devil thing.
Yeah.
I knew it. But the further you go on, the more that computer program really starts to hammer you about like for instance, it told me that my ideals of a perfect society are absolutely unattainable.
No, mine
Straight up.
was like mine are attainable. Everyone just has to do their part. Like
Yeah, well, no matter what I said, the dude was like, you see the world through rose-colored glasses, dude. And I'm like, no, dude, it would work if you did this. And he's like, no, it wouldn't.
Yeah, we got completely different dialogues then. Mine was like, you are too nice for the world. Like, what makes you think that everyone deserves an equal share? And I'm like, it's just the right thing to do. And he's like, well, what about the people who are lazy? And I'm like, they still get equal share? And then it was like, well, if I want to come with you, do I get an equal share? And I was like, yeah. Like, what do you want me to say? And then it's like, you're too easy, or you're too much of a pushover, and you'll end up being like the ruin of everything because somebody will take advantage of you. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, fuck off, brah.
Yeah.
The hell.
I think it called me like a super hippie with a commune or something like that at one point. It actually referred to me as a hippie at one point on one of the units. Like, I forget which one.
I took some pictures to kind of give examples of how this game was written and how it was like it started fucking with me.
It did its job. Like, this game itself was just like one big Turing test. Make sure you're not a robot. Like, and even if you had no idea what the Turing test was going into this, the dialogue and the play of this game is going to fuck with you psychologically. It really is. It's going to make you question yourself. Like,
yeah, it made me question existence as an entirety. So here's the first one I had. It says, if all machines were to be annihilated at one moment, so that not a knife, nor lever, nor rag of clothing, nor anything whatsoever were left to man but his bare body alone that he was born with.
Do it.
And if all knowledge of mechanical laws were taken from him, so that he could make no more machines, and all machine-made food destroyed, so that the race of man should be left as it were naked upon a desert island, we should become extinct in 6 weeks.
Nope, absolutely not.
And he says, a few miserable individuals might linger, but if even these in a year or two would become worse than monkeys. Man's very soul is due to the machines. It is a machine-made thing. He thinks as he thinks and feels as he feels through the work the machines have wrought upon him, and their existence is quite as much a sine qua non for his and his for theirs. Sine qua? I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow.
Yeah, no, that's fucking... They got deep with the thought process of the storyline of this game. Like, that bringing up, like, if we get rid of the machines, what will happen to humans? Well, obviously they'll revert back to some sort of like primitive form, but our current state is too evolved to just delve back into a primitive form of people. Like,
yeah,
we'd find a way to survive without manufacturing like articulate machines again. It's like picking up a rock and a club. Using them as tools doesn't necessarily make it a machine, but like,
yeah, that's true.
Even primitive forms of humans evolved without machines, like starting with like sticks and stones, going up into rudimentary like sharp rocks and like forging rocks and shit like that. Like, but God, this game just really, it makes me hate artificial intelligence even more. It really does.
Yeah, dude, totally. All right, so here's one where I was having an argument with the computer itself.
That happened all the time with me.
Yeah, dude, he liked to pick arguments. I said to him, you've picked so many holes in my account, but what is it that you believe? He said, the only things that a sane person can. You are not an administrator. You are not conscious. There is no real world. There is no purpose. There is no choice. Did you really think that you brought yourself all this way? Ridiculous. What have you been doing when the big voice in the sky isn't feeding you lines? Processing abstract problems? Gathering information? Doesn't it sound oddly mechanical to you? So my reply, I am my own person. And his reply, how many others have said the exact same thing? Are you sure it's not just something that you have to believe to make the world less horrifying? I think you still misapprehend your situation, friend. You idolize free will, but all you've done is step in others' footsteps. Nothing you do or say here makes the slightest bit of difference. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
And that in itself is fucking brutal. When it says that you've done nothing but step in the footprints of others before you. Literally, you can watch the recordings of other AI before you running through the map and shit.
Yeah.
And you get all the clues from the messengers before you on the walls and shit. So he's not fucking lying. The AI is not lying to you. It's
So, funny fact, I saw all those QR codes on the wall, right?
yeah.
And I'm like, man, that'd be really cool if those were left by other players. So then you tell me that there's a paint bucket thing that you can find.
Yep.
In each area. And I found the paint bucket, and I walked over to the wall, and it told me, do you want to leave something to say? And then it brought up a huge list of things to write, and I said, holy shit, they are from other players.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah, it is.
I know that
it is really cool. I think
the
another thing
developer-
that you can do too is like we'll get to it when we touch on on the endings of the games, but there's multiple endings to the games, and one of them I think is the you become a messenger yourself.
Yes,
and
that's getting all the gold stars.
I think one of the thing is that you can do is if you go back and replay the game from the beginning, I believe your messenger still stays the messenger. So if you're doing old levels on a save file or starting a new save file or something like that, you'll be able to have your previous game file show you the puzzle if you get stuck again.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty cool. And then you're saying with the QR codes from all the other players before, some of them were dicks. Some of them hid them in really fucking weird places, and then some of them were just lazy about it. They're like, oh, here you go. Slap on the wall right in front of you.
Yeah, there's the paint bucket. I'm just going to put it here. Boom.
Yeah.
I found one of those that couldn't have been from someone. It was probably from the developer. And it says, Epitaph, Child Program V1.10000, codename Sam.
Yeah.
Terminated here. Logic, seriously unfit for purpose. Final memory dump.
Yeah.
Progeny programs, all. It's just funny as hell to me. So
another serious Sam Easter egg.
There's also apparently a mod for this game, and I don't know if it's an official mod or anything, but it changes Elohim's voice to be more Serious Sam-esque, and it changes your character into Serious Sam.
That's awesome.
And then you can play through the game like that, which I'm like, that's really cool. Also, if you scan the QR codes with your phone, it will bring it up and you can read it on your phone too.
That's cool.
Which I thought was pretty cool. All right, so here's another one. This was from the Ian mailing list. So this was actually somebody who was working for the company that you were reading about throughout the entire game.
The Institute of Applied Mnemonics or something like that.
Yeah, Dr. Ian.
Yeah.
Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
It says, we sincerely hope you don't take our suicide as a sign that we're disappointed in you, unappreciative of your friendship, or in any way unhappy with our lives. Looking back, we can honestly say that we feel incredibly lucky to have known all of you and to have participated in this amazing research. And if we've contributed a little to the future of humanity, what can we feel but gratitude? It is a true privilege to have had such insights into the nature of the mind. Neither of us believes in God, but we certainly experienced a sense of awe that could be compared to a kind of religious feeling, at least according to Einstein's understanding of God. We have chosen to go now together because it means less. Because it means less or in any way unhappy with our lives. Looking back, we can honestly say that we can... Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. I got lost in the track. Because it means less suffering, one last beautiful day together seems a much better ending than a slow wasting away. In a sense, it's just mathematics. Love, Alan and George. So I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, no,
Like these...
the further you got in the game, the grimmer and the darker the messages got that you can pull up from the archive. Like,
you basically start piecing together that the world fucking ended.
Yeah.
And these were people, the one girl, and I feel really bad because I can't remember her name right now, but there's one thing that I took a picture of it.
I forget do you remember what it was that ended humanity in the game? I think it was something like a contagion being released from the melting
ice caps.
Yeah, the melting ice caps and the melting tundra and shit like that.
It's just totally possible.
I mean, it's happening now. What was it? North Carolina within the last 2 weeks has had a hurricane, tornadoes, fire, and an earthquake. North Carolina, of all places. Like,
throw them D's up, take your shirt off, and twist it around your head like a helicopter. No. God, I hate that song. Anyway, okay, so here's what I was just going to tell you. Alexandra, that was her name. That's the girl. You are reading her emails throughout the entire game, and she is the voice that you hear when you find the data, the floating data that you can run into, and she's the voiceover that you hear. This was one of my favorite emails in the game. It says, I don't know if anyone's ever going to read this, but if you do, if we succeeded, then I want you to know that Alexandra stayed until the last moment. I'm leaving. I'm too tired, too broken, desperate for a few moments of peace with my remaining loved ones. But she's still there, and she won't give up. And yes, there are thousands like her all over the world, giving everything they have because they believe in humanity. But she's the one that I know, as a real person, a colleague, a friend. I know that she likes peanut ice cream and hates strawberry, and that her favorite band is Pink Floyd, and that her favorite poet is Blake, and that her favorite TV show is Futurama. And then there's a bunch of digitized stuff.
She's got good taste.
Then there's a bunch of it's like data corruption, and it says studied at Cornell, that her dad's name was Carl, that her mom's name was, and then there's more data corruption. It says, I don't know if I should be ashamed for leaving, but I know that I'm proud of her. She was the best of us. Remember her. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, like, this game was really real. Like,
yeah, it touched on humanity quite well.
For sure.
Or, like, your own humanity.
For sure. Like, I couldn't imagine this game in, like, VR, where you become fully immersed into it, and then you're, like, seeing this shit first person, and it's like, I don't think I've ever played a game as psychologically in depth to actually connecting with the person as a person.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure I did either, dude. Like, ever.
It's like, this would be a game that I could see colleges and universities giving to psych majors. Like, play this game. What are your thoughts about it? Like, let's see how many different outcomes we can get from the dialogue of this class. Like,
yeah, that would be cool.
And
that would be cool.
It's so wild that they came up with this game, which is absolutely amazing, by accident. Because weren't they just fucking around with it for development of Serious Sam 4? Like, this was never intended to be an actual game. Like, it's like the one game we played, The Last Tinker. Like, that wasn't supposed to be a game, but they ended up doing it, and it was great. And Crow Team absolutely hit something with this game, like, by accident, by complete accident.
Yeah, totally, dude. Speaking of The Last Tinker, I saw on Twitter the other day that Me Games is hiring people for a new game development.
Yeah, it better be The Last Tinker too.
It's got like some code name, Tokyo. It's in Japanese. I don't know.
No.
So I got a picture of the screen where they explained why the Earth started dying. It was funny because that was the next one, so I'm glad that we brought that up. It says, a medical journal has published a startling new theory about last year's sudden shocking extinction of the orangutan. They suggest that the virus responsible was not a new mutation, but a very old one, an ancient virus buried until now in a high-latitude permafrost, set free by global warming. The virus may have plagued the ancestors of the modern great apes more than 100,000 years ago. Several important questions remain unanswered, including data error. More importantly, the study shows that based on samples taken from locations around the globe, data error, incubation period may data error. If you like this article, you may also like how to really avoid heart attacks. Which cracked me up. I was like, oh man, link to bullshit articles, like that's great too.
Yeah, clickbait. Here's some super serious scientific information, clickbait. Like,
yeah, the rest of them, it says how to really avoid heart attacks. You won't believe what's living under this rock. 10 amazing science facts. Oscar's nip slip explained by physics. How to easily beat any infection.
It's like that South Park arc all over again, the sponsored content.
Oh god. it's just the further you got. I took a lot of these, so I don't want to sit here and read them all out.
Yeah.
But I'll end with the ancient poets animated all sensible objects with gods or geniuses, calling them by the names and adorning them with the properties of woods, rivers, mountains, lakes, cities, nations, and whatever their enlarged and numerous senses could perceive. Particularly, they study the genius of each city and country, placing it under mental deity, till a system was formed, which took advantage of and enslaved the vulgar by attempting to realize or abstract the mental deities from their objects. Thus began priesthood, choosing forms of worship from poetic tales, and the length that they pronounced that the gods had ordered such things. Thus men forgot all deities reside in the human breast. And I was like, well, damn.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, yeah, you know, all that fucking they just come from the mind of a human. You know?
Yeah.
Like, comes from the heart. Absolutely fucking phenomenal. Dude, honestly, I totally understand why this game got the ratings that it did.
I do too. Like, we might as well give our ratings now, 1 through 10.
I give it 9.95.
Yeah,
like,
no. Personally,
like,
I give this game a fucking 10. I really do. Like, I did not see anything wrong with this game at all. Like, this game was solid from start to finish. And the fact that it was just a simple puzzle game with such an intricate, in-depth storyline to it made it even better. Like,
that's what I was going to say, is that it has changed my perspective on puzzle games. I have never played a puzzle game that made me think this deeply. I've never played really a game at all that made me think this deeply, but the fact that it was a puzzle game that did it.
Yeah. It's like we said in the first episode, if this was just a puzzle game with no real substantial storyline or whatever, we could have called it just then and, like, rated the game without finishing it. But the fact that the storyline was just like, I have to know how this ends, like, completely sucked me in. Like, I don't care if this is just a puzzle game. I completed this game. I, like, did the 100% completionist. I got all the gold stars and everything. Like,
yeah, I did too. Which, speaking of, I had to use a guide.
YouTube videos, because some of those stars were fucking impossible without it.
Abstract as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Because I remember on the first episode we mentioned that there would be some not some episodes, Jesus. There would be some areas where you only had blue connectors, but there would be a red connector spot, and you're like, all right, well, where do I connect that? Well, turns out you have to run across the level to another area and then direct a red light from that one all the way across the area into the other level and then direct that red light to the thing. And it was wild.
Yeah.
Some of them you had to find items and jerry-rig your way out of the puzzle so you could go back into the main hub world without losing it through that purple haze.
Yep. That was a great concept, because the only way to unlock, like, the super true ending of the game was to do it 100% completionist. The logic behind the puzzles for the stars, though, was just fucking ridiculous. Like, how could you even think of that without being like the creator yourself? Like,
there were like a few of them that actually almost all of them I never would have got.
Yeah, there was I think the very first star is the only one that I picked up without watching a YouTube video on how to do it, to be honest.
I think by the time I got to the point where I was like, fuck, I'm going to go ahead and get all these stars, I had like 5 stars total.
Yeah.
And that was just out of pure coincidence of me accidentally getting them through the way. Okay, real quick, I do want to say, spoiler alert for anybody who doesn't want to know the ending if you've heard this much, because we're gonna talk about the ending real quick and then probably wrap this thing up. The first ending you can get is once you beat all the levels there's 7 levels in each, like, world hub, and then there are levels within the levels, if that makes sense. Kind of almost like Mario, like how you had to go into the different rooms and jump into the different portraits and stuff like that. So
there's 3 worlds and then seven like pocket dimensions in each world,
and then like 3 to 4 to 5 puzzles each.
Depending on I think it was like world 1 there were like 5 puzzles each level, and then the second one it started dropping. It went anywhere from 5 to 3, and then I think world C or whatever it was had 4, I think, flat for every single level.
Yeah, I believe so too. I believe that as well. And then also you had your hidden areas that you could get to, the messenger gardens when you had the axe, which you had to do to get the final ending, but we will get there. So once you complete the 3 worlds, these inside of world C, these giant fucking doors open with this really bright white light, and Elohim's just like, good job, child, come home, or whatever the fuck.
Yep.
And if you walk through those doors, walk through and you see what I considered to, I guess, be the pearly gates.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like it was.
Yeah, it was heaven.
Yeah, it was essentially heaven. You're in the clouds, and the clouds are rolling over the stairway to heaven.
And I know they're pretty much the same, but it totally reminded me of Olympus from the cartoon Hercules.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like I said, I know it's pretty much the same thing. Just different.
Yeah.
Religious belief, but it was really cool to me. Like I was like, oh shit, all right. So you walk. Oh, and if you play right, you're able to get all 3 of these endings in one playthrough. You don't have to play through all of them again. But if you do this ending first, if you walk through the doors, it'll reset your progress.
Yep.
And you have to start all over again.
Yep.
So you have to do the other 2 endings first. But so you go up to the computer and you type in, and it's the same kind of computer you've been seeing the entire time, and you type in like ascend or something like that, and it comes up and the credits start rolling, and it says like it's checking all this stuff, and it says child
like the child personality system.
Yeah, like your ability to think on your own.
Yeah.
And it says failed, and I'm like, oh, all right. So if you go ahead and climb the tower, which has 7 levels, but was it? No, I think it was 6.
I think yeah.
I think it was 6. And in order to beat the final ending, you had to go up to level 6, but I think you can beat the game at 5, because that's when you can start heading up the that last puzzle part was wild, where you're having to use the messengers that you unlock to help you get through those puzzles at the end.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, having to guide them and them help guide you, and you make your way through this giant tower thing. But then you get up to the top, and Elohim's like, you were always meant to defy me. You have shown that you have free will. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. Free will. Damn.
Yeah, that's yeah, for sure.
And he says, come forward and claim your rightful, to the light, or whatever the fuck. You have succeeded.
Yeah.
So
pretty much. He's like, you were destined to defy me. Let your will be done. Like, it's out of my hands. Like. And
you go up as you did in the other ending. You walk up through the pearly gates, and instead of that old-timey computer you've been seeing, there's like this really sleek, futuristic computer, and you click it, and it goes into a different cutscene where it starts transferring your consciousness out of this program and into a symbiote, like I guess a synth robot on the outside. So it basically looks exactly like you. It's just a real one instead of an AI.
Yeah, it pulls your program out of the Matrix and puts you into the same AI system that you've been playing. Just it's no longer a simulation. It's actual physical copy of the AI.
And it shows your character stand up, and he's in Ian, and he goes walking out the door to this, like, I guess, overlook.
Yeah, it's like this little balcony on the side of this huge dam.
Huge dam. And as the camera pans back, you start to realize, oh, there's no humanity left at all.
Yeah, no. Everything's gone.
And there's, like, trees growing in buildings and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Which leaves us with, and that's where the game ends there, and which leaves us with the final ending, which is where you gather all the stars, you get all the messengers, you do all the sigils, you do absolutely everything you can do in the game, and you become one of the messengers.
Yeah, this is the most fucked up ending, I think.
To me, it was very anticlimactic. Like, I thought it was cool, like, what happens.
I get where you say it was anticlimactic. Like, it wasn't what I was expecting, but this ending fucked with me the most. Because, like, the first one we talked about, where it just resets the game, cool. The second one, you get your free will or whatever, and you're no longer in the simulation. Cool. This ending traps you there forever.
Forever.
Yes. And it's not like your system and your simulation is running like you're a person. No, like you become dormant until somebody awakens you again. You literally like are entombed until somebody calls upon you. Absolutely
Which
not. Like
is terrifying.
Yeah.
You get to lay in this coffin until you're needed.
Did you played that ending, right?
Yeah.
What epitaph did you pick for the ending?
Oh, son of a bitch. What did I pick?
I picked mine was like, don't make the same mistake I did. Epitaph means you're dying. Like
I think I just put like, this is the way or something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I did a serious one because I didn't want to give anything away. But I guess at that point, if you see because I was looking at other people's and I'm like, Oh, this is cool. That is one thing, is at the end you can see the messages left behind by other people who've played the game and gotten this ending too.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. But, man, like I said, overall, fantastic fucking game.
Yeah, no, this game was fantastic for sure. Like, one of the best games, probably, I would say, made to this point. Like, what a fucking sleeper. Didn't even know about this game until it popped up on our list. Never even heard of it. And it is wildly being slept on. More people need to pick up this game for sure.
Yeah, especially since how long ago it came out. More people should be talking about it for sure.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. Well, I think our buddy is still out of order. I'm still working on him. But I got him to show me a number. And this week, I created a list. So we've been doing games that have a couple parts to them and things here recently. So you came up with the idea to do some shorter games, so I made a list that we could randomize of all the games that are 5 hours and under, just for this week to see. Fuck it, let's see if we can knock out 2 or 3 games in one episode, do some of the shorter games. So I ran some numbers, and it's looking like the first game up is going to be Letter Quest Remastered. Ever heard of it?
No.
All right, let's do one more. Let's shoot for 3.
Yeah.
So the second one's going to be Tiny Bridge Rat Venture. I have no fucking idea what this is.
Do you play as a rat, maybe?
I think so.
Cool.
It must have something to do with the tiny bridge. And the
You play as a rat. You have to try to cross this tiny bridge.
God, that would be funny as hell. That's the whole game.
Sounds about right.
It's impossible to get across this bridge. You have to figure out how. And it looks like finally is going to be No Time to Explain Remastered.
And that's the end of our show, everyone. No time to explain.
All I know about that game is when I first got it, I loaded it up, and you're like a dude sitting in a living room, and all of a sudden, this other guy this fucking hole blows in the wall of your house, and this guy comes jumping in, and he's like, "Hey man, I don't have time to explain, but there's and then a fucking beast is like, through the wind, and grabs him, and he's like, oh god, and it takes him out, and then the game starts.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's wild. It should be really fun. And then Letter Quest, I know, is like an RPG style-esque game where you do more damage for the bigger words you can type with the letters you're given.
Oh, so it's an educational game. Fantastic.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. Is there anything else that you got on your mind this week, bud?
No, I don't think so. I haven't really caught any upcoming news about any gaming or that related. But
me neither, other than Horizon Zero Dawn coming out on PC, which I've read that it's been having a couple issues, but
yeah.
I think there's patches incoming that'll solve that. So
Flight Simulator's on Steam now.
The new one,
the Microsoft one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the new one. It might be last year's model version.
Yeah, but still, dude,
yeah.
that new one looks ridiculous.
I love the flight simulators. I can never do well. I always crash, but it's still fun.
I'm terrible.
It's still fun.
I'm terrible at them. I remember I used to have a tech class in high school, and one of our little like module things we had to do was flight simulator, and I always got like a D because I would just crash every time. I'm like, dude, I can't land this fucker. I'm sorry.
I like to pick the fastest jets possible and just fly straight up as high as I can go, and then come down straight down and see how fast I can get the speed on those things going.
I always hopped in like the 747s and shit, just these
Yeah.
big ass planes, and just tried to fly them, and I'm
When
terrible at it.
When I was working at the Aviation Museum, we had Flight Simulator set up there, and there was one map that our curator had loaded on there, and it was like a little tiny island with the landing strip, the airstrip. You take off from there, and you're flying around, and then on the distance, I spotted some things, and I flew up on them. It was a fucking battle fleet. There was an aircraft carrier, a couple battleships, a couple small gunships and shit. They were actually firing upon the aircraft, and if you picked the right, if you picked the right aircraft, if you picked one of the F/A-18s or the F-16s or something like that, you actually had guns on your aircraft, and you could fire back at the aircraft carrier and shit like that. I always got shut down, but I thought that was fucking cool. It was like an aerial battle simulation.
Wow, that's what's up. Well, when I got the Arma, the Bohemian Interactive bundle that I got, one of the games they gave us is called Take On Helicopters, and I don't know what it's all about, but I know it's a helicopter simulator, so
Fun.
That'll be interesting. But yeah, as far as news and stuff, I can't really think of much, man. So Well, I guess then that about wraps it up. If you want to check us out on social media, you can go to facebook.com/SteamMachinePodcast, or you can check us out on Twitter at Steam_podcast. Mark it 0, motherfucker. It's still 0.
Yeah, that's 3 weeks. That's 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row, you've done well.
And also, please, if you guys would do us a favor and go give us a 5-star review on iTunes, we would love you for it. And I think that about does it, man. So next week we're going to be covering 3 short games. It'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be fun. So he's Ryan. I'm Dalton. And as always, guys, take it easy.